Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to unbox and take a look at the President Richard radio, which is not what it seems. First of all, I am not sponsored by President Electronics. They haven't sent me this unit for review. All opinions are my own. The President Richard is a high-powered mobile radio covering the 10-meter band. Or is it? It's priced at £150 for the radio, or £155 if expanded, and I'll explain what that means in a little while. The box does not mention anywhere that this is a 10-meter band radio. It's a lovely looking old school with analog gauge radio. And this radio is a type TXPR034 radio and conforms to EU Directive 2014/53/EU, whatever that means. This radio requires a ham license if you transmit from it. The 10-meter band is a licensed band and you are required to sit and pass an exam before being able to transmit. However, CB radio users will want to stick around and learn more about the expanded mode. First of all, a disclaimer. Expanding the radio is not illegal. Listening to frequencies is not illegal. Transmitting on frequencies can be illegal. You require a license for most frequencies with some exceptions, CB and PMR 443. Where a band is license free, it still has rules and regulations that must be followed. This radio, when expanded, is not, I repeat, not legal to transmit on the CB channels in the UK due to its high power output. Your country and regulations may differ. Please check them to ensure that you are not breaking the law. I am a licensed ham, MJ7 NLK, hello, and can legally operate in the 10-meter and 12-meter bands within my license conditions. So ham license 24.890 to 24.990 megahertz is the 12-meter band, and 28.0 to 29.7 is the 10-meter band. This radio has been expanded to cover the full spectrum of 24.715 to 30.105 megahertz, which is the 10, 11 and 12-meter band, and more importantly for CB listeners, the 11-meter band is the CB band. Okay, let's get the history and the rules and regulations out of the way. What are the UK rules on CB radio? Well, in December 2006, the old licence, which anyone could obtain from the post office for £15, was abolished. You could now own and operate a CB provided it complied with 3 type approval conditions, which were: number 1, FM modulation only; number 2, maximum of 4 watt power output; number 3, frequency UK and or CEPT, which is the EU CB frequencies, 27 megahertz band only. Then in 2014, Ofcom made a further exemption which permitted the operation of CB in AM, amplitude modulation, and included DSB, double sideband, and SSB, single sideband. And this followed an international agreement made in 2011. CB radio equipment must be operated on a non-interference basis. This means that it must not cause harmful interference to other users of radio. The regulation in the UK clearly states that the use of power amplifiers, often referred to as burners or boosters, to boost output power above 4 watt is illegal. For AM modulation equipment, the maximum permitted effective radiated power, ERP, is 4 watts for DSB modulation and 12 watts measured as a peak envelope power for single sideband modulation, SSB. Now that that's out the way, the President Electronics Group originated in the USA and has been around since 1978. They do have a large presence in Europe with a head office located in France. They make excellent radios and radio equipment, all of which follows a naming convention. Every radio is named after a US president, and this radio is named after Richard Nixon, the 37th US president. In standard mode, the modularization modes are AM and FM. There is no single sideband on this radio. If you want single sideband, then take a look at the President Lincoln 2 Plus. Frequency range in standard mode 28.0 to 29.7 megahertz, 10 meter band. Power output 13 watt AM, which is 50 watts PEP, and 40 watts FM. Power draw 7 amp maximum, and the maximum audio output 3 watts. However, in expanded mode, this radio can be opened up to cover the 24.715 to 30.105 megahertz range, which is the 10 meter, 11 meter and 12 meter bands. The box says 50 watts PEP on it. We'll have a look at that in a minute. PEP, bear with me, means peak envelope power, which is the root mean square value of a single RF cycle at the crest of the modulation. It's 13 watt AM, 40 watt FM. It's an AM, FM and FM UK radio. I don't know what any of that meant. If you are licensed and legally allowed to operate in the expanded frequencies, there are 2 steps required to expand the radio. You need to bridge a gap on the circuit board with a small piece of wire and unlock via the PD menu with a code of 1234. Very original. Do not attempt this if you are not competent with a soldering iron, or you may damage your equipment. If you buy your radio from Knights Electrocom in the UK, there is an option on the site to order the radio already expanded. It costs a whopping £5 and is worth every penny. Let the experts do the job, just pay the £5. Okay, before we have a look at the President Richard, I would recommend that you look to purchase one of these. I will put some information on the screen about this in a moment. This is a K40. If you go to Knights Electrocom's website and type in LK40, it will appear. Very reasonably priced at £12.95p. It has the standard plug that's used for connecting into the back of a radio, heavy duty cable and the cigarette lighter socket with a 15 amp fuse built in. The radio itself will draw no more at maximum than 7 amps, so perfectly well covered for the radio, and saves having to cut and solder and mess around with the wiring of the vehicle. Put that to one side. Okay, let's have a look at the President Richard. This box does not mention anywhere on it that this is a 10 meter radio and is not a CB radio. You could be forgiven for being fooled because it has a rather nice analog dial here. Your digital dial, your selector, everything is split into 40 channels. So if you're in your 10 meter band, you would set your band to A and then move through the 40 presets and then move to band B to do the next 40 presets, and that's typically how you move through the band. you are able to go to the frequency selector and change that by using this dial and moving backwards and forwards. But if you put it into the enhanced mode, then you lose that ability. So let's go ahead and open this up. But as I said, there is nothing on here anywhere that says, and you can pause if you wish, that says that this radio is not a CB radio. Let's get this the right way up. So there we go, and let's enough of the talking, let's get this open. So what comes in the box? You get your number 1 CB sticker that comes with virtually every President radio. You get your manual. Now this manual is essential. French is the first language, English is the second. There's not many pages, but you will need to read this. Next we have the microphone, which we will come back to in a minute. You get a mounting bracket to mount the radio in a vehicle or under a shelf or something if you're putting it in your shack. You get your mounting hardware, your screws and your microphone holder. You get the standard power connector with an inline fuse and your 2 bare wires for connecting into your vehicle's loom or connecting into a sort of linear power supply that you may use in a shack. But as I said before, far easier if you're going to use it in a vehicle and you want to be able to take it in and out to use the cigarette lighter option. And then that is it inside the box, apart from the radio itself. Now, the radio really is quite small. Let's get it out of its bag, and that is it. It is very, very small little radio. This has a sticker on from Knights because they've been inside and have modified the unit. On the back you have the power, you have your connector for your antenna, you have Vox, a PA and external speaker as the 3 sockets that are here, and that's pretty much it. Big heatsink on the back. Now on the front of the radio you have a USB socket, so you can pull this little plug off, if I can get it off. Well, that really was quite difficult to get out. This is the little green blocking plate or rubber blocking port blocker that was over the USB socket. I had to use a pair of pliers to get it out to reveal this port. So apologies for that. So you can charge your mobile phone from this USB socket. Very, very handy to have that on the front. You have your mic connector. You have the analog display here. You have your volume and your squelch control in a single dial. If you turn the squelch to minimum, then it enables the automatic squelch control, which is really quite good on the President radios. So the outer is the on and volume, and the inner is the squelch control. You have your RF power from minimum to maximum. You can control your mic gain with this control here, and your RF gain with this one. This is your mode selector, and you push it in to activate your menu to get into the menu system. And again, everything is very simple here. You've got your mode for AM, FM, etc. You have an echo button for echo on and off. Your emergency channels, which you can program in the system. Then you have your bands, as I mentioned before, and your Vox button. So really quite simple unit. It's very compact, very small, and it's ideal really for mobile use. So let me put that there. And let's take a quick look at the microphone that comes with it. So it is a standard 6-pin microphone that you would get with most President radios. Quite a cheap feeling microphone, I must say. Has up-down buttons on the top and your PTT button on the side. Feels very light and a bit cheap, but as far as I'm aware and from what I've read, they work perfectly well. Another feature of the President Richard is that it has an internal SWR meter, so you can measure the SWR by selecting an option from the menu, which is quite good. And it also has, as mentioned on the back, a socket for PA, so that you can use the microphone to speak over a loudspeaker. So that could be quite useful as well. So here we have the President Richard, all ready to go out mobile with the cigarette lighter socket. All we'll need to do is tune it for SWR. We'll give the SWR tuner a go and see how it compares to the manual inline SWR meter. And we may do a video at a later date with a bit more information. If you want the same functionality as the President Richard, but want single sideband, then look at the President Lincoln II Plus, named after Abraham Lincoln, the 16th US President, which is 10 and 12 meter as standard, but has single sideband and CW, and can also be expanded to cover the 11 meter CB band as well at no cost. The radio currently costs £259, quite a bit more than the Richard. We will be doing an unboxing on the Lincoln soon. The President Richard has a handy RF power dial, so that you can control the transmit power. Even if you drop the RF power down to 4 watts on 11 meters, the CB radio frequencies, I still don't think the radio would be classed as legal, as it wouldn't have obtained type approval due to the ability to crank the power up past the legally allowed level. Who might want this radio? Well, ham radio operators who want a reasonably priced mobile 10 meter radio, ideal for foundation license holders who can dial back the power to ensure they remain within the 10 watt limit. Suggest you buy a power meter to ensure that you do. Preppers possibly, who want a high-powered, small, simple-to-use unit to stash away with their hoard of dried instant noodles. Who can break it out on Judgment Day to communicate with other preppers nearby, probably to trade antibiotics, moonshine, wives, Pokemon cards, who knows. And I guess CB radio operators who are happy to play fast and loose with the rules and risk the wrath of an Ofcom secret agent doing a Hawaii 5-0 over the bonnet and catching up with them. The cynic in me would say that this radio exists to allow higher than standard power on CB frequencies without having to use a burner, and the fact that it operates just like a CB radio, has FM UK, steps in 40 channel blocks, has an echo mode and a Roger beep. Oh, the ham radio guys love a Roger beep. Well, you decide. So there are two camps of people. The people who stick to the rules and wouldn't dare operate outside of the law, and the people who just don't care, who blatantly run CB radios with huge amplifiers pushing satanic levels of wattage and quite possibly causing or contributing to interference. And we all know that interference equals Ofcom secret agents turning up in dark sunglasses and using neuralizers, and that's a quote from Men in Black from 1997, so that you don't remember the invasive equipment inspection and subsequent kidney removal. In conclusion, if your country and your rules and regulations allow, this is a fantastic radio for the money. President make some really good quality equipment. This has high power output and works well, looks good, and is very simple to operate. Thank you for watching. I hope you found the information in this video helpful. If you did, then please help my channel out and give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Always happy to hear from you, provided you're not a troll that lives under a bridge. Let me know if you have one of these radios, your thoughts and your experiences in using the radio, and the rules and regulations in your country with regards to CB frequencies. What's coming up on the channel next? We have a range test of the President Randy 3 handheld radio. We'll be comparing the standard rubber duck antenna that comes with that radio with a much larger 50 centimetre rubber duck. So that's two President Randy 3 handhelds with both the standard and the longer antennas. We'll be doing that and seeing how they fare. We will also be doing an unboxing and mini review of the Anytone AT-D878 UV2 Plus radio. I don't know where they get these names from. So please subscribe and you'll get a notification if you click the notification bell when the next video is posted. Thank you for watching. So now that I've got to know the President Richard, I'm sure the radio won't mind me calling him Dick. President Dick, along with my President Randy. So I've got my President Randy Dick.